the craziest story about you is actually the beginning of your career, where Kuch Kuch Hota is releasing, and you are locked up in a room at the premiere of your own film because you got a call from and they're going to bump you off. And you have two people, your two assistants, Tarun Mansukhani and Nikhil Advani, telling you, "Abhi clap chal raha hai, abhi standing ovation," but you're stuck in a room. That's bizarre.
I don't think I can ever forget. For the longest time, I had a dream that I'd have a premiere at Liberty, because that's where Hum Aapke Hain Kaun was, and that's where Dil To Pagal Hai was. And I used to have this dream, and it used to be really a dream, not just like a symbolic dream. It used to really come in my dream. That a Mercedes car will come and Shami Kapoor will emerge.
Young Shami Kapoor?
Yeah, no. The Shami Kapoor. Because Shami uncle used to attend the premieres.
Okay, it was one of those.
So I was sitting in this tiny room because there were all the security, and you've already given names, I'm not saying anything, I'm so scared. I'm like, there was this threat coming in, and we were releasing
and they asked you not to release the film.
They asked, for whatever reason, we didn't want us to release, and the authority said, please go ahead and release it. Shah Rukh knew about this dream I had. So when Shami uncle came out of his Mercedes car, Shah Rukh went inside, brought me out, and made me stand right in front of him. He said, nobody will do anything to you. You watch this moment. So I saw that moment happen, and I had tears in my eyes, because it was my dream actually realizing itself. And Shah Rukh said, you won't go from here. You won't go from here. Then my mother got hyper and father got hyper, and they sent me back. But I'll never forget how Shah Rukh brought me out, and he said, I'll take the bullet for you. You just stand here. And I was like, that's when I realized that this is a relationship that is forever. After that party, after the premiere, I didn't see the film with the audience at all. I was rushed into another room. We were having a party at a restaurant called Khyber. There they said, we have a list, but there are 6 uninvited people who have entered now.
Oh, damn.
It could have been just 6
Gate
crashers, but
usual
security.
Crashers,
That night, my father said, we are leaving the country. So we left for London.
The same night?
The same night. At about 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning. My mum, me, my dad, scared people, just on a flight to another country. We went to London, and we didn't know what the hell was happening. Like the first couple of days, those were not internet days. We didn't know where to log in. We were just trying to first be settled into a tiny apartment, because, we were, and in a discreet location. I don't know why it was seeming very scary for us at that time. And my mother somewhere secretly was, I think, hoping that only emotionally and for her protective, that if this film is not a big hit, it's okay. It's fine.
Right. Under the radar, yeah.
But she wasn't saying it. But so we decided to go to Marble Arch, which was the cinema that day. That was a big 300-seater, 500-seater actually. And we were watching the film with the audience because we hadn't seen it, right? And there was pin drop silence right through, some laughs here and there. Interval, there was a mass exodus. 300 people got up to go out. And they used to keep an interval in those days in the overseas audience. They don't do it anymore. And my mother said, they've all left with maybe a tinge of some happiness. So my father said, no, it's not possible. He walked outside, and there was a huge line of a lot of the ladies were standing outside, to get into the washroom. And he said, why is there such a crowd? They said, can't you see our mascara is off? We've been crying so much. And then I went back and I said, oh, mummy, people are crying and all in the movie and all. So she said, oh. And then at the end of the film, when we walked out, everybody was like, oh, this is a great Yash Raj film. And because they didn't know who I was. My father very proudly was saying, it is his film, he directed it. And people are looking at me like, who's he and why? Whatever. And they walked out.
You were a kid then, right?
I was 25 years old, and I was like, I was just so lost. It was only on the Tuesday morning of the film's release. Landlines landlines in our we didn't have a mobile that time. Landlines in the apartment weren't allowed international calls, so I had to go into the red booth, and I took a couple of coins with me and I had to call Adi to find out, because Adi's Yash Raj was distributing the film, and he's saying, I've been trying to call you. So I was like, yeah, I'm really nervous to ask what's happening, how's it doing? I haven't heard anything. So he's like, where are you? So I said, I'm talking to you from a phone booth. He said, what's the most expensive thing you want to buy? So I'm like, what do you mean? So I said, well, what do you mean? He said, whoa, what's the most expensive thing you want to buy? I said, I want to move to a bigger house with mom and dad. So he says, you know what, come back to Bombay and buy the biggest house because your movie's a blockbuster.
Crazy.
And I was like, and I was staring at that phone and I was like, and I'm a little bit of an emotional maniac and I was weeping. He's saying, you stop crying, it's great news. Your film is like here, there, everywhere, every territory, blah, blah, blah. My father, when I went up, I woke my parents up, and I was like, like, hello, like our film is a big hit. So my mother was like, means what? Because we'd not heard this. So I was like, my father had films that had failed prior to this. Right before that, 6 months before this was Duplicate. Before that was Gumrah, which was...
Oh, Duplicate was not a hit?
No, it was a big flop, yeah. Agnipath, Gumrah, all of these had been... Agnipath was acclaimed, but not a commercial success at all. We hadn't seen success, in so long. Went straight, my father then took the same coins and started calling the CPCI, Rajasthan, distributor, and it was just and there were just three of us, right, mom, dad and me, and just our own little party. And then my mom came around, I think, because she realized that this was emotional for us, and the strangest thing happened on that day. My mother told me, and I don't think I've shared this, but it's hilarious. I started premature graying because of my dad. My dad was premature, so my mother said, today, go dye your hair. That was her emotional reaction to my film being a blockbuster. So I didn't know when you go color your hair, you think your hair is black, right? So you go there and they said, what color? And I said, black. I came back looking like mad. Because you're supposed to go light brown or medium brown on your color. Black meaning I came home and my parents were looking at me I looked mad,
like you're wearing a toupee or a wig or something. I
looked like it was jet black, the color of night on my head. And I'm like, she said, what did you say to the colorist? I said, black. Isn't my hair black? She says, no, it's light brown, medium brown. You don't say black. There are stages. I'm like, no, I was so embarrassed. I didn't know what to do because there's no redemption from black, right? You have to wait for the black to fade. Right. And then, so I was walking around with a cap, right through this, and it was just mad, and I looked so crazy for about 25 days after, because it took a really long time for that. I couldn't even go to a restaurant normally because I felt like, not because they knew me, right, but there was a strange person with very dark hair, and I'm like,
So basically, if you go back to 25 years ago, locating your pictures from right after Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, you're wearing a cap.
Yes.
For the first 25 days anyway.
Well, I wasn't photographed at all, so there's no archival evidence of this. But I know that was a big mistake. I didn't know better, yaar. I'd never colored my hair. I was 25 years old. Right. I was like, black. Right. Mere baal kale hain. So they were like, and I remember this colorist asking me, are you sure? I was like, yeah, what a stupid question to ask. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm going to color my hair black because I have so many grey hair.
Jugal Hansraj, is it true that he came up with the composition, the tune of Kuch Kuch Hota Hai? Or is that
yes, that's his tune.
That is his tune.
Yes.
Wow.
It's his tune which he composed in the shower. The rest of the melody, of course, is Jatin Lalit. But Adi gave me the title Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, and he composed the na 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 na.
Is he a musician or just?
So I think he sings beautifully, and I think it just happened. And then we kept trying to make him give us another title song for every other man, and he was like, I think I'm going to retire at the top. This is it. This is all I have in me.
Who worked with Shah Rukh Khan, who was the biggest star of the time.
But Shah Rukh's journey and my journey kind of were all...
They coincided?
There were no 95, 94 was when I assisted him. His stardom was 93, 1993. So kind of he was also like...
Dar would be his breakout.
Yeah, so, and we were on set with him in 94. So it was like we all, Adi, me and him were like friends. That superstardom energy, I've seen Shah Rukh's entire growth in front of me and felt a part of it. Right. But I didn't meet him as a movie star. I met him as like this young, vibrant actor with so much promise.
Speaking of which, getting paid, did you pay Shah Rukh for Ae Dil Hai Mushkil to make a cameo?
No, neither for Brahmastra.
Brahmastra also
Brahmastra
free?
He shot 14 days.
14 days for free?
14 days, but Shah Rukh, that's our relationship.
You must have gifted him something.
Of course.
Like a Cadillac and a Rolls Royce.
No, none of that. I give him clothes, he loves clothes. But like, Shah Rukh there's no such thing as a money exchange. Like, what I do and what he does, and there is no money involved. I don't think he's ever asked me for money, even for a film he's done. It's whatever is given. Our contracts with Shah Rukh are, it's a pleasure to work with you, thank you so much, and that's the contract. There is no contract. We don't have a contract with Shah Rukh. I don't have any contract.
Not a piece of paper.
No, I don't have any detailed paper.
Crazy.
Like whatever it is said and it's done, and whatever he expects of me or I expect. I remember when he was shooting Ravan, he had a double unit. He called me to shoot for 6 days because Anubhav was doing big action and he needed some simple, like just patch kind of scenes. I flew in from Bombay, did it. It was not. These are not big deals, Mayank, in our relationships. Whether it's with Adi or Shah Rukh. Like Adi asked me for anything. I mean, as I said, I'll do anything that is asked because I'm here because of them. I mean, how can you forget that? Loyalty is the most required quality in a person, and it rarely exists.
I mean, when it comes to being on the screen, Karan, and cinema becomes bigger, but a lot of people of a certain age would have watched you first on TV in Doordarshan with a show called Indradhanush. And I'm sure, I found it online. It was very easy for me to find this picture. I want to show it to you. That's you. Man, it's crazy. That's you.
Yes.
This is actor.
This is Akshay Anand, whose real name is John Gardner.
John Gardner.
That's a school friend of mine called Amisha Javeri.
What is going on? Like, how did you land this show? And how old were you?
If you want to know a really funny story about how this happened, so when school finished.
You mean 12th grade?
No, 10th.
Okay, 10th grade. Okay.
10th. I was 15, and I was plus size to be woke. I was extra plus size, and my mother got a call. She knew Anand Mahendru, and my mother got a call, and she said that he said, "Oh, Hiru, how are you? I heard you have a really plus size child." And my mother said,
"I heard you have."
I don't know. I was apparently somebody via said, "Oh, Hiru and Yash have a large child." So he said, "I need a really large child for this show." And does he act? My mother said, "Yeah, he does drama." But Anandji got defensive about my plus size and said, "It's puppy fat. It'll go." So he said, "Yeah. But till then, can he come and do an audition for me?" I didn't even know what an audition was. And he lived like very far away. We used to stay in Malabar Hill. So I got into this cab and went all the way there, thinking that what's going to happen? I'll just do some audition. I had done school dramatics. Like I had not even acted or anything. I go there and I'm sitting, and for some reason Anand was busy in the edit, and I was waiting, and there was somebody sitting opposite me and doing the crossword and drinking tea. I looked at him, he looked at me. I found him familiar. He just smiled politely. For about 4 hours, both of us sat.
Waiting. Yeah.
Anand walked in first. He tapped me and said, "I'll come to you." And he went to this boy who was young and said that, "I think, we'll do the part. You're on for the part." He says, "No, actually, I came to say I don't want to do TV. I want to do film, but I really like the tea in your office and I wanted to finish my crossword." And he walked off. And then Anand took me in and he said, "Crazy, do you know who that is? Shah Rukh Khan. His name is, he was in 4G. And I'm like, oh.
Yes, that's how you first met.
Yes, we were sitting opposite a closed room. And I'm like, I said, "Oh, yeah, right, I remember 4G. That's why I found
4G was
familiar.
huge, yeah.
That's why I found it familiar." But I don't know what he was doing. He was drinking tea and doing the crossword. And then he didn't even want to do the role and he left. And then
he got offered the role and
he said, "No, man, I just like the tea. I want to say." And I was like, and that explains Shah Rukh Khan, to you about him. I said, "Wow, like, what a cool guy." Then he said, "Now this is the guy doing it. This is my Akshay Anand." And I said, I knew him from Xavier's because I was in HR and Xavier's and HR. I said, "It's John Gardner." So Akshay, and so he said, "Okay, now come on set." There was a set in RK Studios. They put up a set for this computer and he put me into costume. And then he just made me act.
Like these are kids who've accidentally invented a time machine.
Yeah, time machine, yeah. So he made me just come down looking like, he made me do some hammy expressions coming down and all that. I did it and he said, "Okay, you're on for the part." So I was like, okay. So I went back home and I said, "Okay, now I'm acting in the serial." So which I thought was going to be the summer job, right? But it went on for 2.5 years because of delays. And so I finally got ragged in my second year junior college by first year junior college students. And I was like, 1 minute, my ragging days are over. I'm in like SYJC now. Second year, why are you ragging? Because the show had dropped then. And it was so embarrassing because there was me and Jugal Hansraj who had done a campaign called MBD Books. For me, for you, for everybody. He used to just keep appearing. Every time you saw a video cassette of a film, it would start with Jugal Hansraj saying MBD Books. For me, for
He's
you,
the boy
for
from
everybody.
Masoom anyway, yeah.
So he and I were the two people ragged, and once we went running into a room for people who were ragging us, and we got friends. You know, we got to become friends because we were the ones ostracized by, like, you know, like everybody, and then things settled down. So that was my acting gig started there and ended with Bombay Velvet.
No, it hasn't ended. I mean, you never know, right?
I've asked a lot of people to cast me. It doesn't, it's I meet with very silent responses, you know, even in my own company, where I kind of suggest that maybe this part I can do, and they're like, no, you know.